be a tutorial all about the foundation routine. Somebody requested this a few weeks ago, I want to say, and at first I didn't think it had changed a whole lot from the one that I did probably about a year ago, but then I realized, one, the camera quality is better, which is reason enough to do it again, and two, the products are most definitely different, as well as some steps. So ultimately I realized that it's entirely different, so why not? So this video is going to cover everything from the priming / color correction to the concealer part. I didn't include contour, blush, bronzer, highlight, any of that kind of stuff because I didn't want to make this video too terribly long, but please go ahead and comment below if you would like to see a separate video on that, and I'll make sure and get it up, you know, within the next year or something like that. Anyways, if you want to see how I do my foundation routine, please continue watching. So to start, when I have some minor discoloration underneath my eyes, which tend to be purpley bluey leaning, I don't have a peach color corrector. What I've been using recently is actually this Baby Chew base from Etude House, which I just recently did a review on my blog. You can see it has a peach undertone. Now when I put this all over my face, it makes it look a tad light and washed out in an entirely different color than my body. So what I have found is that it functions really well just as a color corrector right beneath my eyes. Also, it is a base, so it does act to kind of help makeup set and keep it stay longer. So it helps my concealer, it amps up my concealer staying power. Once the under eye area is taken care of, I'll go in to correct some redness. If I have some, I don't tend to get very red, but when I do have a solution for it, and that comes in the form of this Makeup Forever concealer palette. I don't have a green drugstore corrector. I know they make them, but this is the one that I have and have been using, so it's the one I will use today. This is in the shade 1. It's pretty much the lightest palette they have, and I just take the green shade here and I run it along areas where I have redness, which tends to be around my nose. Just little tiny capillaries around there tend to get red for me. And then sometimes on my chin area I'll have it. And a little of this goes a very long way, obviously, because it has a green cast and you don't want to be the Wicked Witch of the West. Or the East. I can't remember. The bad one. The green one. I also want to mention that even though I am doing these 2 color correction steps today for you right now, I don't do them every day. Days when I have like 5-10 minutes to get my makeup done, those are the first things out of the routine because they're not entirely necessary. They're nice to perfect a complexion, but not at all necessary. So if you don't do them, you don't think you need them, don't do them because you don't need them. So moving on. Next comes the foundation. Now, as of late, I've been testing a lot of different drugstore foundations because I've been wanting to come up with a top 10 drugstore foundation video. In order to come up with 10, you gotta try more than 10. So that's been kind of my mission. But on the days when I don't have to think about what I want to use, I do have some go-tos, and they have been the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind or the Mary Kay Time Wise Matte Wear Liquid Foundation. And I've been loving these because they are matte. The Mary Kay happens to be a little too pink for my skin tone, but I only got this maybe about a month ago, I guess it was, but before I actually got this, it was all about the Mary Kay foundation because it was so matte, it's so long wearing, and it really gives kind of a flawless coverage without looking too perfect, too cakey, too whatever. Funny thing is I got this in summer, but it was entirely too light for me then, and it's only now that I've really been able to appreciate it. But it is a little pinker, so now I've gone over to this Maybelline, which is in the shade, what shade is it? The shade is rubbed off, but it's ivory something, maybe just ivory, I don't know. But it matches my skin tone better, so that's what I'm going to be using for you today. To apply it, I pretty much always use my Real Techniques foundation brush, even when I'm in a rush, just because I find that foundation applied with a brush just lays better, stays better, lays better, all that jazz. So the one thing I hate about this is the lack of pump. I put it on the back of my hand and then use my brush to buff it in. That was way too much. Then once that is thoroughly buffed in, it's time for concealer, and today I'm going to go back in once again to this Makeup Forever palette because it has everything, so chances are if I'm just doing my face like I normally would and I've corrected for the green, I'm going to go into this palette because it has everything I need. Prior to getting this though, I would use my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer because it's heavy coverage, so it can conceal my dark circles without being cakey. The thing about this is though, I find I do have to set it with a powder because it's so moisturizing that it has kind of a shinier sheen about it. You do have to set it with something to mattify it, especially when I'm wearing a matte foundation. So depending on what I'm wearing in the situation, I'll go between these two, but these are typically the two that are my go-betweens. So I use this light shade here, just my ring finger to get in there, and I'll dab that in my under eye area. I don't typically go for a brush when I use my Makeup Forever or this particular palette. So then once I have that lightest color blended in, I go back into a shade darker to blend in all of the blemishes I might have, maybe do a little bit more coverage around my nose, areas like that. But the reason this is great is because it has both of those colors, a shade lighter to highlight my under eye area and the actual shade of my skin to cover up blemishes, because you don't want to have a random splotch of highlight on a blemish, because that would kind of emphasize it. No? Then the last step for the face is the highlighter. This is L'Oreal's Magic Lumi Concealer, little pen, and I use that to sweep it. Well, I'll show you where I sweep it. How about rather than tell you? I use it to sweep it right under my eye, sweep it out and down, and then pretty much I fill in everywhere in between there, just little strokes with the product. You know, kind of doing the signature Kardashian triangle that everyone does when they contour and highlight. That's basically what I try and do. So just run it out across the eye, down beside the nose, and little strokes to fill in everywhere else. And then I just use my finger to blend this in. It's a very creamy kind of product, so I don't notice it needing a brush. So for now, I just use my fingers because they do the trick. All right, here I am back again. I've done the brows, which I've been feeling like the Brooke Shields-y, deeper, darker, a little thicker brows, so that's why they look a little bit different in this video. I also went ahead and put a little mascara on and then did my blush contour highlight, which if you would like to see, I'll put in a different video, but I didn't want to make this video that long, so I went ahead and did it off camera. And I wanted to let you know that the reason I do my brows in between the foundation-y kind of part and the blush contour highlight part is because I found lately that the liquid part of my makeup routine and the powder part of my routine haven't been mixing well, and I think it's because the liquid products just need a little bit more time to set. So in order to let those kind of dry and really set as well as they can, I'll do my brows in between, maybe even sometimes my eyes as well. That way I find that the powder products I lay on top of it lay more evenly, they wear more evenly throughout the day, and all that jazz. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been forever and a day since I've done this foundation routine, so I hope it was somewhat different from my last one. I know the products are different, but I hope you guys found it useful nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!